thanks for the opportunity to outline the newly established Local Authority National Agricultural Inspection Programme, which has been established over the last year or so. Just what I hope to do is cover a little bit about the context of the NAIP, as we call it, the National Agricultural Inspection Programme, a little bit about the origins of it, what the programme is involved in, and also then what we hope to achieve with the programme. As has been discussed quite a bit today, the Water Framework Directive, at least good status is required by all waters by 2027. We all know that. And we know that agriculture has a significant role to play in that. A review was carried out of the Nitrates Action Programme, the fourth Nitrates Action Programme, back in 2022, and implemented through the associated GAP amendment regulations of 2022. And it highlighted very much a need for improved compliance and a strengthened focus on enforcement of the GAP regulations. And the GAP regulations, by the full title, is Good Agricultural Practice for Protection of Water Regulations. So it's important, that emphasis, the call for greater compliance and a strengthened need on enforcement. And also in the draft third River Basin Management Plan, it mentions the need for local authorities to strengthen their inspections and enforcement as well. So arising from all that, then, as a new government's arrangements were put in place, and it assigned new enhanced enforcement role to the EPA in the Office of Environmental Enforcement in relation to the oversight of local authorities in carrying out agricultural inspections. And the EPA was asked to develop, implement and oversee a local authority NAIP programme, as we call it, the Agricultural Inspection Programme. What does the programme involve? The key, I suppose, underlying component of it is a risk-based inspection plan, and I'll cover that in a little bit more detail in a couple of slides. In addition, we wanted to develop guidance and tools to assist the local authorities in both selecting farms for inspection, to have a risk-based focus on it, to target the farms in particular, and also in the carrying out of those inspections. And there's a lot of tools and maps, etc., that have been developed to assist local authorities in relation to that. We've also then to develop guidance and provide a training programme for local authorities as well to build up that capacity in terms of improving and compliance checking in terms of increasing the number of inspections that are carried out. We're doing a lot of this work then through the establishment of a NAIP working group, which is a very effective working group that has been established. The EPA chairs that. There's representatives from 6 local authorities, the CCMA, DAFM, Department of Housing, LawPro and Inland Fisheries Ireland are on that group, and it's a very proactive group, and it's all about improving and ensuring a consistency of approach throughout the 31 local authorities throughout the country. In terms of our overall enforcement and statutory performance requirements in the EPA, we have this requirement to direct local authorities then where they fail to meet the objectives of the programme itself. And then in terms of reporting and recommendations, we have to report to the Minister every 4 years, commencing in October of this year, in terms of the implementation of the measures in the GAP regulations, and to make recommendations in terms of preventing and reducing water pollution from agricultural sources. So that's the overview of the programme itself. Just in terms of where the inspection programme fits in the overall compliance, because we've heard a lot about, how do we ensure compliance? How do we bring about compliance and the different components of it? And just in terms of, as I said, there's 3 kind of key components to ensuring compliance. On the left here, we have, compliance promotion, which is effectively collaboration and engagement. Engaging with the farming community in terms of, the work that Stan has just particularly outlined there, all the advisory, the education, the awareness, the communication to farmers and what is the right thing to do, how it should be done. And there are a number of bodies out there currently who have and are playing a very active role in that space, including LawPro, Teagasc, the ASAP programme, local authorities themselves, the EPA ourselves, the National Federation of Group Water Schemes, DAFM departments, and a lot of other voluntary schemes and projects, and some of which we'll hear about a little later on. So that awareness raising is a key component, I suppose, in one foundation in terms of compliance and engagement. Secondary then is the middle in terms of inspections and checks. Okay, we need to have the data, we need to know what is happening there, and we also need to know then the measures that are currently being implemented, how effective they are. We're very fortunate. We have a very extensive monitoring and sampling programme carried out in the EPA and indeed with local authorities as well. So we're very fortunate to have data, very good comprehensive data, over 140 different data sets, as Wayne mentioned this morning, feeding into that sampling programme. And in terms of checks then is the farm inspections, okay, and that's really the cornerstone of the inspection programme that we're talking about today. Local authorities carry out those predominantly, but DAFM also carry out inspections on behalf of local authorities, and they also do their own inspections as well. But then over on the far side then, you'll see, like, for every regulatory and compliance regime, you need to have the enforcement. You know, for those who don't comply, there needs to be the warning letters, to bring people to task, basically, who don't comply. These are set out very clearly, I suppose, in the GAP regulations. Cross-reporting is a very effective mechanism for non-compliance when local authorities do detect non-compliances on a farm, and that's effectively a financial penalty to the BIS system, the income support system that farmers get. Prosecutions are there under the GAP regs and also under the Water Pollution Act, and there's powers there set out in the GAP regs for local authorities, DAFM, inland fisheries, in terms of take a lot of prosecutions as well, and indeed ourselves. Just to mention as well, GAP inspection, it's not a new thing. Many of you know here, local authorities have been carrying out GAP inspections for quite a number of years. But you can see the number back in 2008, the number was quite high. Over 4,000 inspections were carried out throughout the country. That number has diminished significantly for different reasons, maybe back in the economic crash or whatever, in terms of resources, priorities, etc. But you can see we're down to approximately 1,100 inspections being carried out on a national basis under the GAP regulations. So the aim of the new programme that's been established at the moment is to get the numbers of inspections up. It's not all about numbers, but it's to definitely get, the more inspections done, the more detection of compliance and non-compliance out there. And also the quality of those inspections is very important. So it's to really, the follow-up, the outcomes to achieve what is detected on the inspections. So just to note that it's to ramp back up to a level that was somewhat there before. The programme itself, the EPA has set out a programme and has allocated specific numbers and targets of inspections to each local authority for 2024 and 2025. We have a target of 3,300 farms to be inspected, initial GAP inspections for this year, and that's increasing to 4,500 in 2025. Now, coming from the 1,100 base of last year, you can see that that's going to be a stretch, but there's a lot of resources being put into it, which I'll mention in a minute as well. A lot of resources, a lot of training, a lot of upskilling and guidance being developed to ramp up this programme to achieve those targets. It's very much a risk-based programme, okay? So the programme is targeted in water bodies at risk, at which agriculture has been identified as a significant pressure. Okay, and it's important to stress that. So we know we're very fortunate, I suppose, the catchments unit within the EPA has developed this very effective targeted agricultural measures map. It's been updated, and again, it identifies those water bodies at risk where agriculture is identified as a significant pressure. And that has been updated in recent times as well to identify the pollutants of concern in each of those water bodies as well. So we know it's a flag system there. I'm not sure if you can read it or not, but essentially you can see there in the orange, brown areas are the areas of where nitrate is a problem. The P, the navy flags, is phosphorus. And the key, I suppose, message coming from this is that knowledge is there. It's there for local authorities to use to guide them in terms of where they should carry out their inspections, and also in terms of applying the right measure in the right place. That's a term that's been used. I suppose this is the origin of the term here, because we know, like for instance, nitrogen will behave differently in different soils, in different locations. Phosphorus likewise, and what measures in terms of for phosphorus and nitrogen would be very different depending on the pollutant of concern and the area that of the country you're in. So that's a critical kind of support in terms of where to inspect and guidance around. We're encouraging local authorities to use that, and it's available on the EPA Maps website and catchments.ie as well, and to use that in association with the pollution impact potential maps as well. So there's a lot of background information, a lot of support there in terms of targeting where the inspections need to be carried out. What is covered in the farm inspection? Again, the compliance, again, they're very clearly set out in the regulations, but you can see some of the issues even that Stan would have mentioned there, that the water quality programme is looking at: adequacy of slurry and soil water storage, the management of rainwater, evidence of discharges from the farmyard, management of silage effluent and runoff from silos, impacts on nearest watercourses, management of slurry spreading, management of farmyard manure, and then impacts from farm roadways as well. So they're the areas, but a summary of the main things that are covered in inspections. What is being detected, or what's coming back in terms of the non-compliances that are reported back to us. And you can see there that the main issues, control of soil water is one of the main issues that is reported as a non-compliance. And that could be, for instance, soil water running into the drainage ditches or into surface waters. Secondary there is the management of farmyard manure. Again, that could be just runoff, not controlled. So a lot of these are management practices, that are being detected by local authorities and doing their inspections. Discharges with potential to adversely impact water quality is number 3 there. And then the last one there is slurry collection and storage. And again, that could be in terms of inadequate storage of slurry, or the management of that slurry then. So they're kind of the summary of what's being detected in terms of when the local authorities carry out their inspections. And as I've mentioned, we're hoping that the programme itself will develop a capacity amongst the local authorities. One of the key aspects of it, I mentioned earlier on, is the national working group that we have established to implement this. But just down at the very bottom there, I don't know if you see it or not, but additional resources have been now provided, and it's great that the Department of Housing has sanctioned 57 new staff to local authorities to be specifically ring-fenced to carry out inspections under the NAPE programme. 21 were sanctioned last year, the middle of last year. They're all in place now, and a further 36 were sanctioned at the beginning of this year, just in February this year, and they're currently all being recruited at the moment. The recruitment process is going. So that's going to bring a huge impetus and energy and enthusiasm, I hope, into carrying out more inspections to get those numbers up. A lot of training and development is going on at the moment in some of those new inspectors, with experienced inspectors that are already in place. And as I've mentioned there, the working group has a lot of work being done around guidance, templates for inspections, reporting requirements back to us, who in turn have to report back to Europe in relation to the programme. For instance, a recent guidance has been developed there around for planning agents and local authorities on agricultural planning applications, for instance. So storage calculation tool is being developed at the moment as well. So in conclusion then, just to what we hope that the NAPE will bring, I suppose overall is in terms of improved compliance with the GAP regulations, and the Nitrates Action Programme. That's our ultimate achievement. Consistency of approach, I suppose, regarding inspections. So if a farmer's been inspected in Sligo, he's going to have something similar that would be the inspection programme if he was being inspected in Wexford. Effective risk-based inspections and enforcement. Okay, so it's targeted, it's risk-based. Ultimately, as well, and this is important, the data and the level of compliance and the issues and the follow-up actions, the information from that, how that feeds back into the loop then in terms of the measures being developed, in terms of what Wayne went through earlier on, the water quality reports, are those measures being effective or not? So the information being gleaned from the inspection programme will very much benefit and identify what additional measures are either working, or is there something else required in relation to it. Overall, it's supposed to be greater awareness on water quality issues, and ultimately it's what we're all, I suppose, here to achieve, is an improvement in water quality. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you.